Hello, 49er faithful. This is Jack Hammer of the Santa Rosa Press Democrat. Hope you're all hanging in there on this Sunday night where the 49ers come up short in Denver by the score of 11-10. Denver won the game on a grand slam by shortstop. Seriously, 11-10. Let's get into it a little bit. It was a bad game all around for the 49ers. I'm sure the folks over in the comment section aren't very happy about or as you're watching this, most of you 49er fans aren't happy about the outcome of this game. It was a rough performance by the 49ers. This performance by the 49ers offense set the game back. I don't know if I've seen a worse performance by a 49ers team maybe since 1988 when the 49ers were beaten 9-3 at Candlestick Park by the then Los Angeles Raiders. That might have been worse. I don't know. This was a bad performance, and there's lots of things that play into this game. Let's get into some of the reasons behind this loss. I mean, obviously, as some of the folks over here in the comment section have to say, we got M. Kiv. He says Jimmy is trash is what he's trying to say there. He comes back and clarifies that. Andrew wants you guys to hit the like button for me because it's not my fault the Flyers lost. Hey, it's not, but that's the way that these games go. And Vegas Baby KJ says George Kittle isn't an offensive weapon anymore at all. We're going to get into Kittle a little bit in this game as we go through this performance from tonight as well. He's not going to miss some of the blame. You look at this game and you see that what the 49ers defense put up, and it's no way that this game should have even been close. 11-10, 49ers fall at 1-2 on the season. Here's the thing. I came on the pregame show and told you this is going to be a close game. I've been saying all week on every show that I've done, whether it's on my channel or with Rob Shue over on his channel, whether it's on the Hammer and Nail show, all week long on Twitter as well, I've been saying this game's going to be close. I don't understand why people looked at this game and thought it was going to be a blowout. Denver has a defense that is very good. They have an offense that runs the ball well, just as well as the 49ers had been throughout the beginning part of the season. And for some reason, there was a bunch of 49ers folks who thought this was going to be a cakewalk. And I kept trying to warn you guys. Nobody wanted to listen. And here's what happened. They faced a Denver defense, which allowed only 487 yards combined over their first 2 weeks. The 49ers offense, when the game opened up in the first quarter, I don't think there's very many people here that are watching or who watched the game who felt like this was going to be as bad of a performance as it was. On the second possession of the game, 49ers opened up with a 20-yard pass from Garoppolo to Ayuk over the middle. The next play is Jeff Wilson Jr. running a zone to the left. He sees the cutback lane, bursts through it for a gain of 37. And then Garoppolo finishes off the possession with a 3-yard touchdown pass to Brandon Ayuk. Things are looking good right there, but in reality, from that point on, the 49ers offense couldn't get out of its own way. Let's start with the quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo. He missed open receivers, stepped out of the end zone for a safety, threw an interception late in the fourth quarter with the offense closing into range for a potential game-time field goal. In addition, there were penalties along the offensive line, whether it was Spencer Burford or Mike McGlinchey, that either wiped out third down conversions or made it third and long instead of 3rd and 4. And the 49ers offense completely wasted one of the best defensive efforts we've seen in a long time, maybe ever, from a 49ers defense. San Francisco's defense forced 9 3-and-outs against Russell Wilson and the Broncos tonight. 9. They dominated this game. But because the offense couldn't get out of its own way, they lost. So let's get into it a little bit. Let's start off with Jimmy Garoppolo. Let's take a look at him. Before the game, I asked how is he going to perform his first start of 2022. The answer is awful. Garoppolo was not good at all tonight. He had a couple of really nice throws. There were a couple that were completions that were flutter balls. It just wasn't a good performance by Jimmy Garoppolo tonight. As I said, he started out okay. He had on several throws to move the ball. However, other than that second possession of the game, Garoppolo was only able to lead, the offense to 3 points the rest of the way. And his biggest miss in the first half came when he threw an incompletion to Brandon Ayuk to end the 49ers' fourth possession of the game. And that's one that you're going to see a lot of on Twitter, probably if you haven't already. And it's where, he has Deebo Samuel breaking free out of a bunch formation on the right side. Nobody covers him. Garoppolo's you can see from the close-up view on TV that he's looking to his right side, and he comes off and throws to his left to Brandon Ayuk, who is blanketed by Patrick Surtain, who was able to get his hand in there and knock the ball away. Awful miss by Garoppolo. Didn't even throw the ball there, but it's still a miss because he didn't throw the ball to a wide open receiver. We saw that last year in Week 17 with the other quarterback, but that doesn't matter because this is Jimmy Garoppolo. And the experts have been telling us that he was going to be able to turn it around. And then the 49ers had some bad field position throughout the entire first half of the game. They were backed up. Their average starting field position was their own 15. The Broncos' own average starting field position was their own 18. So neither one was really all that good. San Francisco finally caught a break early in the second half when they took over their own 43. That opportunity would be wasted, though, when Garoppolo fumbled a snap in midfield and Denver recovered. Although the Broncos weren't able to put anything on the board following that fumbled snap and recovery, it would prove costly for the 49ers. Because after the 49ers defense got a stop, Denver was able to down the punt at the 49ers 2-yard line. On the second play of that possession, Garoppolo runs a play fake, has some pressure, steps away from it, and steps out of the back of the end zone for a safety. And while the safety's bad, it was actually a positive for the 49ers because, Garoppolo threw the ball, not realizing he'd stepped out of bounds, not hearing the whistle, and he threw an interception that was returned for a touchdown. So on that play, the safety ended up actually being the best part of that play for the 49ers. As crazy as that sounds. And then you go a couple series beyond that, and the 49ers defense is coming up with another stop, and the 49ers take over possession at the Broncos 41. Prime position. Second play of the drive, Garoppolo has Juwan Jennings open down the right sideline, but his pass sails and flutters, forcing Jennings to have to turn around. Jennings is able to get his hands on the ball, but because he's having to spin around to catch it, instead of just being able to catch it like a good pass would be, he's twisting, he's turning, gets the ball in his hands, steps on the sidelines, out of bounds. So instead of having a big play, the 49ers offense gets an incompletion there, a short completion on third down, and they have to settle for a field goal to go up 10-5. It's just another missed opportunity. And then two possessions later, now trailing by one, Burner's offense moved close to midfield. They're at the 48-yard line when Garoppolo dropped back to pass, stared down Deebo Samuel on a crossing route, and threw it right into coverage. Ball was tipped by the defender and intercepted. And that was pretty much the ball game because although the 49ers defense was able to get a hold and get the 49ers the ball back with about 1:40 left in the game, it was a cluster, just like it had been throughout. The punt hits Ray McLeod in the hands. He drops it, barely recovers it. The 49ers then the 49ers take over possession. I think it was around the 15. Garoppolo gets sacked on first down for a loss of 12. So now you have second and 22. Second and 22, Garoppolo has some pressure, moves around, gets the ball to Jeff Wilson Jr., who is running. Looks like he's going to pick up some good yardage to make it going to be third and manageable. Instead, he gets hit. The ball comes out. Denver recovers. You look at this game, the 49ers turned the ball over 3 times. 2 of them were on the quarterback. There was a safety on the quarterback. And the third was a fumble after a completion. And we wonder why the 49ers only scored 11 points tonight. Quarterback played bad. The defense as the offense as a whole played bad. It was not a good performance. You look at before we get off of the offense for a second, let's look at what the run game did tonight. You look at the numbers, and they don't look that bad. 49ers ran the ball 19 times, picked up 88 yards, an average of 4.6 per attempt. That looks really good. But then you look at it a little bit closer and you realize that in reality, 55 of those yards came on 2 runs by Jeff Wilson Jr. Remember early in the first quarter when Wilson gained 37? And then late in the third quarter, he busts one for 18. Well, that's 55 of those yards right there. The rest of the game, the other 17 carries that the 49ers had on Sunday night, averaged 1.9 yards. They gained 33 yards on their other 17 carries. On those other 17 carries that netted only 30, 7 of them came from Jordan Mason on the one carry that he was given tonight. The rookie out of Georgia Tech looked electric during his playing time in the preseason and in training camp. And the 49ers giving him one carry for 7 yards in a game where you're not running the ball other than 2 big plays, and you're giving more carries to Deebo Samuel, who hasn't really run the ball that well the last 2 games. His defenses have really focused on stopping him. Perhaps the 49ers should think about giving Jordan Mason a little bit more run than what they're doing. Just my opinion on that one. And then number 5, the other one, George Kittle. You guys asked, somebody mentioned George Kittle earlier. What impact is George Kittle going to have on the 49ers offense? Well, let's look at what he did tonight. Finished with 4 catches on 5 targets, 28 yards. So George Kittle, 7 yards per catch tonight. The 49ers offense came into this game averaging 182.5 yards rushing per game. With George Kittle out there blocking for him, they were held to 88. So the answer to what impact George Kittle is going to have on the 49ers offense tonight, that's pretty much none. He did help out a few times on pass blocking. Trent Williams went down. And once Trent Williams went down, the first man up was Jalen Moore. I don't know why Jalen Moore's on the field over Colton McKivitz. Anybody that's watched Jalen Moore play at all since throughout training camp and in the preseason, should have known what was going to happen next. He comes in the game. He gets beat for a sack on the first pass play that they put him in there for, that he's on the field for. The next play on third and 10 or whatever it was, they keep Kittle in to help him block, and that works. But why is Jalen Moore on the field to begin with? Did you not watch anything that he's done throughout training camp and preseason? I'm not talking about him getting beaten one-on-one drills. I'm talking about Jalen Moore getting beat repeatedly in pass protection over and over and over again during training camp and preseason. And he's your first guy off the bench? Where's Colton McKivitz? Colton McKivitz was your first guy off the bench last year over Jalen Moore. Why do you keep going back to this guy? He can't protect and pass. He's too slow. If anything, he might be okay at guard, but he's not a tackle. And the 49ers keep putting him out there at tackle. Eventually they took him out. Colton McKivitz got in. It was all right. McKivitz was better. He wasn't great, but he's better than Moore, and that's about it. And then so the offensive side, not good. And then you turn the page and you look at what this defense put up today. What their performance was. Real quick, I want to answer this one from Peter. He says, "How's it been, Jack?" Hey, Peter, good to have you on board. It's been fine. The game, I was entertained by the game. Really, this was an entertaining game in a lot of ways. It was fascinating. I felt like the 49ers moved the ball at times in the first half, but because of the field position, they don't have the consistency in their offense at all. I had talked about it a little bit earlier on, I think after week 1, how with Trey Lance at quarterback, the 49ers offense seemed to lack some consistency. That's what the offense looked like tonight. So maybe it wasn't a Trey Lance thing. Maybe it was just a quarterback thing, 49ers overall thing, where when they don't run the ball well, they don't have a quarterback that can make up for it. Because, when the 49ers won all those games last year in the second half, it was a run-heavy attack. Tonight, they threw the ball a lot more than they ran, and they were doing that because they couldn't run the ball. And they're not able to run the ball because they don't have the threat in Jimmy Garoppolo. The offensive line, they don't have speed in the backfield necessarily. Jeff Wilson Jr. is a good back, but he's not going to scare anybody. And I think we saw that play out tonight for the 49ers. And then we turn the page, we look at the defensive effort. The defensive effort, fantastic. Like I said earlier, 9 3-and-outs. You get 9 3-and-outs and you lose the game. The difference in this game was the safety. Because without the safety, the 49ers defense gives up 9 points, probably 10. So maybe it's tied at 10. Who knows? But that safety makes up the difference. The special teams for Denver pinned them back. They got the turnover at midfield. They win the game, And one of my questions coming into this was, can the 49ers defense contain Russell Wilson? The answer, that's not when it mattered. They did a very good job on Russell Wilson. But unfortunately, the offensive mistakes kept Denver in the game. And Russell Wilson does what Russell Wilson eventually always does against the 49ers. Now he's beaten them 18 times and 22, he was 17 of 21 coming into tonight. So 18 of 22 games against the 49ers. Russell Wilson's won. A lot of games similar tonight where the offense doesn't perform well and then all of a sudden they still score. Tonight what we saw was Russell Wilson manufacture a 10-play, 80-yard drive. They took the ball over at 10-12 left in the game. Wilson made plays with his arms and his legs to help move the ball down the field. Late in that drive, third down, he scrambles for a gain of 12 to move the sticks. And then he connects with Cortland Sutton for a gain of 19 down the right sideline to set up a touchdown run by Melvin Gordon to take an 11-10 lead. Try to say that hard a couple times, 11-10. I have a hard enough time talking most of the time anyway. But, again, Wilson didn't look great. He doesn't beat the 49ers tonight if the 49ers offense does anything. And part of the reason that I bring that up and about the 49ers offense needing to do something was the other question that I asked coming into this game was, can the 49ers defense stop Denver's run game? And when you look at this game, the answer to the question as far as can the 49ers stop Denver's run game was really no. I mean, you look at the averages again, and you see that the 49ers did a pretty good job against the run. They held Denver to only 3.1 yards per attempt. But they had a lot of stops early in the game where they held them to nothing. Or there was losses. There was a loss of 6 on a really nice play by Talon Hufanga, for example. But if you watch the game, you could see the grind of the Broncos carries wearing on the 49ers defense as the game went on. The 49ers offense was unable to generate any points. So because the 49ers offense isn't doing their job, the 49ers defense sees Denver being able to stick with the running game. They were never out of it. It was always close. And so Denver stuck with the ground game. They ran the ball 33 times tonight. And those 33 runs were like body blows. They're just softening up the defense from San Francisco. Eventually, as the game wears on, you see them starting to pick up 4, 5, 6 yards on those carries. And then, those body blows also help Wilson be able to start to make his plays where he's moving around on that drive late in the game. There's only so much you can do as a defense. And it was just, they when I say that the defense couldn't stop the running game, and I'm explaining why, I want to make sure that everybody's really clear on this. They couldn't stop Russell Wilson when they had to. They struggled against the running game in the second half. Those are both true. But in no way, shape, or form did the 49ers defense lose this game for them tonight. They played outstanding. They played fantastic. Whatever words you want to put to show how good they play, they deserve it. They played out of their minds, fast, physical throughout the game. They had a couple of breakdowns, and because the offense stunk, the 49ers lose the game. So I want to just make sure that I'm really clear on that I'm not blaming the defense at all. Jimmy Garoppolo didn't play good tonight. The 49ers offense as a whole didn't play good tonight. And we'll see where this team goes from here. They have a game next week on Monday night against the Los Angeles Rams, a division rival who just took down the Arizona Cardinals today. And it's a big game. Last week was a big game for the 49ers against Seattle because of the whole way that everything was setting up there. Think of it this way. The 49ers, as bad as they look tonight, they go up against the Rams on Monday night. The Rams are 2-1. Remember, the Rams lost on opening week in in at home to the Bills. So they're 2-1. If the 49ers can go up and take advantage of this game on Monday night and win and get to 2-2, they move ahead of the Rams in terms of the NFC West. So we don't know how the season's going to play out. Tonight was an awful game for the 49ers offense. They've got a lot of work to do. It looks like Trent Williams might be out for a little while. That's going to be tough on them. Regardless, the 49ers this season isn't done yet. If the 49ers can go out and win on Monday night against the Rams, like I said, they'll be ahead of the Cardinals. They'll be ahead of the Rams. And depending on what happens elsewhere, they could be in first place in the NFC West come next Monday night. So awful loss for the 49ers tonight. As we saw last year, this is a long grind of a season. If the 49ers can come out and win this game on Monday night, the season changes. If they don't, they fall behind, and then it becomes a big uphill climb for them. So awful loss for the 49ers tonight. Big game coming up on Monday. There's going to be a lot to unpack as this week goes on. Again, Garoppolo, not a good game. Is Garoppolo the reason the 49ers lost? He takes a big chunk of it. There's some other things that you can point to, and I know that Kyle Shanahan probably will. I think he already did in his post-game comments about some of the other things that are going on. But this is a team that has a lot of potential on defense and on offense for everything that they have in terms of Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel. They don't have a running game that really works all that well. And there's some things that you can see where they're going to go at times before the ball is snapped with motions and things like that. Every once in a while they come off of them. But it was a really rough game tonight for the 49ers, and we're going to see where they go from here. So let me just check and see if there might be any questions that were popping up. Because I was not paying attention to all you guys early on, so I apologize. Let me see what you guys said over here in the comments section. Well, I know you don't want to hear that Jimmy's the best backup quarterback in the NFL, but when it comes to backup quarterbacks in the NFL, Garoppolo's a very good backup. He played not so hot tonight. The team as a whole on offense, not so hot tonight, but Garoppolo's got to make some of those throws. His best throw of the night was the one that Kyle Juszczyk down the left sideline. There's other balls where he's trying to throw deep, and I don't know why he's just not stepping into them, and they just flutter out there. It's awful. E. Kim also says that last interception by Jimmy was obvious with that play call. Well, one of the things to know about Kyle Shanahan is when it gets to nut cutting time in the fourth quarter, that ball's going over the middle. That's why I made the comment on Twitter last week, or during the week. It might have been Saturday or Friday. I don't remember which day it was. And I made the comment that there's just so many interceptions that occur with the 49ers over the middle. Jimmy Garoppolo gets blamed for that a lot. Kyle Shanahan, I think it's a Kyle Shanahan offense thing because they attack the middle of the defense so much, and there's so much traffic in there. When your run game isn't working very well, those passes get really tight, and you see that guy just sitting there, that safety just sitting there waiting for an in-breaking route. They know what's coming. Jimmy Garoppolo definitely deserves some blame for this game, obviously. Moonman says, Jack, Jimmy plays better in the Trey Lance offense. Kyle was awful. Also, Jimmy and O-line. I mean, I don't think that Garoppolo necessarily plays better in the Trey Lance offense. It was the 49ers offense, but some more downfield shots. I thought that they gave him plenty of chances tonight to make plays, and Garoppolo just didn't make them. There was a number of other players that he could have a number of other throws that he missed, a number of throws in this game that he missed that he needs back and that he needs to be able to hit. I'm just looking through really quick, and then we're going to shut it down for the night. But I want to see what else we got. Shanahan is a loser. Where is this genius offense? 10 points. Hey, the Flyers have scored 20 points in 2 games and 27 in the other. So this is one of those times where it was definitely a tough performance. There's a lot to go into this game. I do have to say, one thing that I will say, and this isn't going either direction. In the first half, when you start on your own 15 and you got to go 85 yards, right? That's hard. The Broncos, they started their own 18. They had to average 82 yards to get to the end zone. Both of the offenses were put in tough situations by the opposing defenses and the punters. Remember, they're playing at Mile High Stadium, so those mile, up there, the ball's going to fly longer. So those punts are pinning both teams back. I think for myself, the biggest disappointment was the second half when the 49ers took over at the 43 and you fumble the ball at the 50. You take over at the 43 and you end up punting. You take over at the 41 and all you're able to get is a field goal. That's where Garoppolo takes the loss because of some of his boneheaded plays. The offense as a whole, when you get the ball in those field position, you come away with nothing, or 3 points, and that's it. That's bad. So, as ASAP says, Mason got only 2 plays, ran only once for 7 yards. You got to get him the ball. He needs to be. You need to see what you've got in this kid, I think. Let's see. Let's see. ASAP says our defense is the best in the league. The defense looks all like 2020. Tonight it did. For sure. And the Jedi says defense gave up 9 points, Jimmy 2. That's about right. So anyway, I'm going to shut it down for the night. I'll be back with you guys throughout the week. I'll be back tomorrow night with Rob Shue here on the channel. We'll get to that tomorrow night around 5:30. So keep it locked in here. I want to say thank you to everybody that took the time to join. If you guys, before you leave, can do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button on the way out. When you hit that subscribe button, also make sure you click the little bell notification so you know when we go live. Last but not least, take yourself over to 49ers.pressdemocrat.com. That's the Inside the 49ers blog over there. They're the ones that make this all possible for me to be able to do this for you and bring you the information that I do. So get over to 49ers.pressdemocrat.com, make that a favorite on your web browser, and check it out on a regular basis. Have a great rest of your Sunday. Get ready to have a great week. Take care, everybody. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Talk to you soon.